When dealing with a 240 volts load that requires ground fault circuit interrupter or GFCI protection and there is no neutral connection, it is important to understand how GFCI breakers function. A standard GFCI breaker operates by monitoring the current balance between the hot or line conductor and the neutral conductor. It detects any imbalance, which would indicate that current is leaking to ground, potentially through a person or faulty equipment. This leakage creates a difference in current between the hot and neutral wires, and if this difference exceeds a certain threshold, typically 5 mA, the GFCI breaker trips, interrupting the circuit and preventing electrical shock. If a load genuinely operates at 240 volts without a neutral wire, then the GFCI protection cannot be implemented directly using a standard GFCI breaker that requires a neutral connection. The reason is that the GFCI breaker needs to monitor the current flowing back through the neutral wire to compare it with the current flowing through the hot wires. Without this neutral return path, the GFCI breaker cannot sense any imbalance. However, it's crucial to clarify that most 240 volts loads in residential settings, especially those requiring GFCI protection, do have a neutral wire. These loads are often designed to also supply 120 volts for certain components, such as control circuits or indicator lights. In such cases, the GFCI breaker can be used in the standard manner with the neutral wire connected to the breaker's neutral terminal. Now, if you encounter a true 240 volts load that genuinely does not have a neutral connection, it's essential to verify the load's requirements and the applicable electrical codes. In some industrial or specialized applications, equipment might be designed to operate without a neutral, but it would still require appropriate safety measures. One potential solution is to use a GFCI device specifically designed for systems without a neutral. These devices, often called ground fault monitors or ground fault relays, work by detecting current leakage directly to ground rather than comparing the current in the hot and neutral wires. They typically require a separate grounding conductor to function correctly. Another approach is to use an isolation transformer. An isolation transformer separates the circuit from the main power supply, providing a new, isolated ground reference. By grounding the secondary side of the transformer, you can create a ground fault detection system. However, this approach is more complex and expensive than using a GFCI breaker. It is crucial to consult with a qualified electrician to determine the best solution for your specific situation. The electrician can assess the load requirements, the wiring configuration, and the applicable electrical codes to ensure that the installation is safe and compliant. Here are some additional points to consider. Firstly, always refer to the manufacturer's instructions for the specific GFCI device you are using. The instructions will provide detailed information on installation, wiring, and testing. Secondly, ensure that the grounding system is properly installed and maintained. A properly grounded system provides a low impedance path for fault current to flow, which helps the GFCI device to trip quickly and effectively. Thirdly, regularly test the GFCI device to ensure that it is functioning correctly. Most GFCI devices have a test button that simulates a ground fault. Pressing this button should cause the breaker to trip. If the breaker does not trip, it should be replaced. It is also important to understand that GFCI protection is not a substitute for proper wiring practices. Always follow the electrical code and use approved wiring methods. Do not attempt to bypass or disable GFCI protection. In addition, be aware that GFCI devices can sometimes nuisance trip, especially in older wiring systems. Nuisance tripping can be caused by a variety of factors, including moisture, dust, and loose connections. If you experience frequent nuisance tripping, consult with an electrician to troubleshoot the problem. Finally, remember that electrical work can be dangerous. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, it is best to hire a qualified electrician. This includes when the load does not have a neutral wire. It may not actually be a 240 volts load in the traditional sense. It might be a 120 volts load connected to two hot wires, which is commonly seen in appliances like clothes dryers and water heaters. In such instances, a standard GFCI breaker will not function correctly because it relies on the neutral wire to sense imbalances in current. Without a neutral wire, the breaker cannot detect a ground fault and will not trip, leaving the circuit unprotected. Therefore, it is essential to verify the voltage and wiring configuration of the load to determine the appropriate GFCI protection method. If the load is indeed 240 volts and does not have a neutral wire, alternative GFCI solutions may be required, such as those designed for systems without a neutral, or an isolation transformer with a grounded secondary side. A qualified electrician can assess the situation and recommend the best approach to ensure safety and compliance with electrical codes. To elaborate further, let's consider the different scenarios one might encounter and the implications for GFCI protection. One common scenario involves a 240 volts appliance that also requires a 120 volt supply for certain components like control circuits or indicator lights. In this case, the appliance will have a neutral wire in addition to the two hot wires, and a standard GFCI breaker can be used. The neutral wire allows the GFCI breaker to monitor the current balance between the hot and neutral conductors, and any imbalance indicating a ground fault will cause the breaker to trip. Another scenario involves a true 240 volts load that does not require a neutral connection. This type of load typically consists of resistive heating elements or motors that are directly connected to two hot wires. In this case, a standard GFCI breaker cannot be used because it requires a neutral wire to function. Alternative GFCI solutions, such as those designed for systems without a neutral, or an isolation transformer with a grounded secondary side, may be required. When choosing a GFCI solution, it is important to consider the specific requirements of the load, the wiring configuration, and the applicable electrical codes. A qualified electrician can assess the situation and recommend the best approach to ensure safety and compliance. Firstly, verify the voltage and wiring configuration of the load to determine the appropriate GFCI protection method. Secondly, consult with a qualified electrician to assess the situation and recommend the best approach. Thirdly, follow the manufacturer's instructions for the specific GFCI device you are using. Fourthly, ensure that the grounding system is properly installed and maintained. Fifthly, regularly test the GFCI device to ensure that it is functioning correctly. Sixthly, do not attempt to bypass or disable GFCI protection. Seventhly, be aware that GFCI devices can sometimes nuisance trip, especially in older wiring systems. Eighthly, remember that electrical work can be dangerous. In addition to the above points, it is also important to understand the different types of GFCI devices available. There are two main types of GFCI devices: GFCI breakers and GFCI receptacles. GFCI breakers are installed in the electrical panel and provide protection for the entire circuit. GFCI receptacles are installed in place of standard receptacles and provide protection only for the devices plugged into them. When choosing between a GFCI breaker and a GFCI receptacle, it is important to consider the specific requirements of the installation. GFCI breakers are typically used to protect entire circuits, while GFCI receptacles are typically used to protect individual devices. Also consider the ampacity of the circuit. If you have a 30 amp circuit, you would want to find a ground fault protection rated to 30 amps. Another thing to note is that some GFCI devices are designed for specific applications, such as pool pumps or hot tubs. These devices typically have additional features, such as overcurrent protection and surge protection. When installing a GFCI device, it is important to follow the manufacturer's instructions carefully. Incorrect installation can result in the device not functioning properly or even creating a safety hazard. It is also important to test the GFCI device after installation to ensure that it is functioning correctly. This can be done by pressing the test button on the device. If the device does not trip when the test button is pressed, it should be replaced. GFCI protection is an important safety feature that can help to prevent electrical shock. By understanding how GFCI devices work and how to install them properly, you can help to protect yourself and your family from electrical hazards. In summary, if you have a 240 volts load without a neutral that needs GFCI protection, it is important to consult with a qualified electrician to determine the best solution for your specific situation. The electrician can assess the load requirements, the wiring configuration, and the applicable electrical codes to ensure that the installation is safe and compliant. Standard GFCI breakers rely on a neutral wire to detect imbalances, and alternative GFCI solutions may be required for loads without a neutral. Also, always consider a qualified licensed electrician to perform the work.